17 games this year, so 17 game season this year. Was that 8 more games to play? Or is that 7?
Seven.
7 more games to play. No, I think it's
7.
They're not playing the full 17 this year?
No, they play 16 games. You only play 16 games.
Yeah, you got a bye week.
17 weeks. What you talking about?
Yeah, but then they add so they
No, they're not doing 17 this year.
Okay,
No.
so it's still 16.
Add the playoff team.
So they have 7. So they have 7 more games this year. Some formidable opponents. Is there anyone that you see, Barry? And I heard you took a stab earlier when it came to Chase Claypool when you were defending him. Like Steelers are undefeated. It's something to be stood for that. Something to be said for that. Is there anyone that can stop this streak?
I definitely did look into the schedule, and the 2 games that I have circled that I think that are problem games, or I wouldn't say problem games, but they have the potential of being the spoilers for this undefeated season. And the first one that I have up here is a game that happens in 2 weeks, and that's against the Ravens. All right, the divisional games. We've seen, even with the Steelers going up against, the Bengals, those AFC North games can be very competitive, and they're definitely games that you want to stay away from if you're betting. So, the one thing that I have seen is that the Ravens have been a little bit up and down, but the one thing that you never want to do is give that team any type of motivation. And I think with them coming in as underdogs and literally everyone writing them off and saying they have no shot of beating the Steelers team when they were just in, arguably the best AFC team last year. I think that Lamar Jackson is going to somehow, right this ship. And even if they, have a good chance of getting that run game started, and if they can have those physical, cornerbacks like they do in that defense, can really, give some physicality to the Steelers, I think that can pose some threats for them. And, you just can't, count out the heart of a champion. If the Ravens can stay ahead in this game, they don't fall behind, because we know that's their Achilles heel is coming back from behind. And I think that they have a chance. The one real reach that I'll say here, that maybe another one a little bit further down the line that could give the Steelers some problems, and I think that's the Indianapolis Colts. I think this Colts team is also a team that has a pretty good defense. You've seen Phillip Rivers, who's been playing a lot better football than what he was over in, the Chargers, and presumably with less weapons, because you never know if T.Y. Hilton is healthy. The running back, they're constantly switching guys out, but yet they're still sitting at a 6-3 record, and I think that they really pose some matchup problems for the Steelers, as far as defensively, and they can really win those close games like that. But arguably, like I said, if they do make it through this regular season, because I think those are the 2 toughest challenges for the Steelers. But if they do make it to the playoffs, we all know who's going to take them out. There's not a team in the NFL that can beat the Chiefs other than the Chiefs themselves. And I feel like if the Steelers go and play those Chiefs in the playoffs, especially if that game is at Arrowhead Stadium, you can kiss it goodbye, because the Steelers ain't winning that game. So if we're talking regular season, I say the Colts and the Ravens give them the best chance at being, knocking off that undefeated streak. But if we go to the playoffs, no way in hell that team's beating the Chiefs.
Talk your talk, Barry. Talk
Listen,
your talk, man.
I appreciate your confidence, man. I would love to see that playoff matchup, and I just have a feeling it's going to be at Heinz Field. I don't see it being at Arrowhead. But as far as any teams that can knock off Steelers, I literally have the same exact 2 teams. My only additional feedback I would say is that the Colts is one of those teams that people sleep on, but they play every single team. They play tough. Like, if you're gonna get a rough, tough game, you got to come a full 4 quarters. Like, they're so versatile offensively that you don't know where they're gonna hit you. It might be Jordan Wilkins one day. It might be Michael Pittman the next. It might be the defense getting a pick 6. Like,
Naheem Hines.
It might be Naheem Hines. Like, you don't know where they're going to be. The only thing is if Phillip Rivers turns the ball over, which is his Achilles heel, and I think that Pittsburgh has one of the most turnover-prone defenses. So it's going to be a nice matchup, but I think the Colts would be one of their biggest tests aside from the Ravens.
I got, circle on the calendar 2 teams, but it's not the same team that you guys have. One is, of course, the Ravens. I feel like the Ravens is always going to – any rivalry game is a game that you need to look out for, especially when you have the former MVP playing for the team, and then you have Jim Harbaugh coaching for that Ravens team. I think the Ravens can get to the quarterback with those new additions. I think they match up well defensively with all the cornerbacks and Marcus Peters. You have Jimmy Smith. You have Marlon Humphreys. I think Patrick Queen does well in the run defense. So I got the Ravens. Like that's the deepest threat. The most fear threat. The second threat, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills. Man, like their secondary is good too. The secondary is good. Josh Allen is playing on an MVP caliber level, right? He got ousted last week. He got outdueled. I wouldn't even say outdueled by Kyler Murray.
No, don't say.
Bro, you throw a Hail Mary 50 yards in field.
Who did he say outdueled Kyler Murray? It was Tua, and it was
Tua.
the missed field goal, and then Kyler Murray throws the game winning touchdown, and you say he don't outdo him? Stop your nonsense.
DeAndre Hopkins catches the game winning touchdown.
Game winning touchdown or game missing field goal kick.
Not only was it a hell, I mean, John, I don't know. If we
All
gonna
right.
say Tua beat.
No, outdueled.
Murray
Don't say beat. He
outdueled.
outdueled.
Murray.
So Murray outdueled
got
Josh
the last
Allen
laugh
last
on Josh
week.
Allen.
He got the last laugh last week. But with that being said, we've seen Josh Allen drop the ball down the field in the clutch when he needed and take his team close to victory, bro. If any other given Sunday, bro, we would call that's game. Put in the bag, right? It just didn't happen to be there Sunday, right? With that being said, I like Buffalo. They're the leading division leader in the NFC East. The AFC East. Sorry, the AFC East. Hopefully my Giants will be the NFC. Anyway, I like Josh Allen.
Yeah, Barry, he finds a way to mention these Giants on every show somehow.
I'm proud of him, man. I'm proud of him.
I'm still trying to understand how the Bills, man, because from what I've seen, when the Bills have played, top tier teams, we see they play Tennessee, they get blown out 42-16 in Tennessee. You play the Kansas City Chiefs, you lose by 10. You play the Cardinals. Like they said, you did lose a really tough game. But, what I have seen is, this 7-3 record is a little bit inflated based off of, I'd say their best staple win is a game against the Rams, who were struggling at the time. So, I like Buffalo, but I just struggle to really pick them in those key games, those highlighted matchup games. I mean, even going back to the playoffs last year when they should have won that game, and they let the team come back and beat them. So I just really see the Bills as a team that struggles to close out games in highlight key marquee matchups. So that's just my little word.
Also, another point that I wanted to make on why I had the Bills, that game is going to be in Buffalo. It's going to be in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
So
they're tough in Buffalo, though.
It's tough in Buffalo. It's cold in Buffalo. I mean, it's cold in Pittsburgh, too.
I don't think
it's cold in Pittsburgh, too. There's not going to be any fans, of course, but I believe, it can be something to say about home field advantage.
I think it's I actually have I like the Bills, believe it or not, more than I do the Ravens to win this game, and I say this as a Raven fan. I would hate to see us get swept by the Pittsburgh Steelers simply because it wouldn't sit well with my blood. I would have a whole bunch of college friends texting and calling and letting me know about my Ravens or let me know about their Steelers. But at the same time, I just don't know if the Ravens have some soul searching to do right now. I think that they need to get back to the basics, and 2 weeks from now they may not be where they need to be to solidify that playoff spot. And I think Pittsburgh is still running strong. Whereas when it comes to the Bills, I think the Bills need that staple win. It'll be week 12. What is that? 3 games from now. Let's say we're talking about a 9 or 10-3 Bills team, and you've already lost to Kansas City. You've already lost to you lost to another team. You lost to Tennessee, right? You've lost to teams that are probably going to be in that playoff race. This is a staple win for you. I mean, like you said, Stephen Diggs wants the big money. He gets the big money. He's making the play. Tre'Davious White is supposed to be a top corner, and he was a part of that Moss situation with DeAndre.
Jordan Poyer.
Right, Poyer was there too. Poyer got his hand on the ball.
Oh, yeah.
And so they need that staple win. They've lost some really big games. The only 3 losses they have this year are to playoff teams. But like you said, Barry, a lot of those 7 wins are against teams that probably won't be in the playoffs. So when you get to that point, I know they have another division game in between there. I'm not sure if it's Miami.
They played Buffalo week
I think it's
7. I
against
mean,
the
Buffalo.
Patriots.
They played the
That's what it is, the Patriots.
Dolphins.
Right? Is it Miami?
They played the Dolphins week 17.
Yeah.
Not week 17. I'm talking about before they get the Steelers. They have a divisional game. And I think,
So here's
like
the Bills next. Here's their next schedule, right? So they have the bye week, then they have the Chargers at home, then they go to play the 49ers away, then they have that Steelers matchup. So they got two teams that they can definitely get up there with.
So we're looking at possibly a 9-3 Buffalo team, and I think that they need that win more than anything. That will feel like the regular season playoff game. I think that will probably be the biggest game in the AFC this year. And look, man, if they don't win that game, then they're looking at 4 losses to teams that are going to be in the playoffs. You start looking around now. You start pointing fingers. Are we as good as we say we are? So I think that's really big for them. And I do want to before we move on there, Barry, I do think that you are absolutely right. There is not a team in the league, and I say this as a Raven fan who went 15-1 last year. I do not believe there is a team in the league that can beat the Kansas City Chiefs outside of the Kansas City Chiefs, especially with their defense. The defense upgrading of, to me, a full letter, maybe even a letter and a half over the last 2 years. That team is going to take someone really playing out of this world. I don't think it's a Pittsburgh situation. I think it would have to be Baltimore.
Okay.
So, go ahead, Barry.
No, and I was going to say, it's crazy that, the whole time I've been slamming, the Buffalo Bills. But honestly, I truly believe that out of all the teams in the NFL, as a true Kansas City Chiefs fan, the Bills honestly are a team that really worries me the most out of anybody in the AFC, because when they are playing on all cylinders, what you've seen is a team that can literally run the ball down your throat. And when we saw it with the Chiefs, especially in that playoff game against the Texans really took a lead to begin that game because they had Duke Johnson and they had, I forget who else they had, it might have been Hyde or whatever, but those guys were running the football hard. And when you look at teams that have struggled or teams that have beat the Chiefs, when you look at let's look at the Raiders. The Raiders absolutely, with Josh Jacobs, absolutely ran all over the Chiefs and were able to keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. And when you're able to make sure that they don't have the ball in the hands of the Chiefs, then the Chiefs can't score. And I truly believe that the Buffalo Bills, when they're moving the chains, when Josh Allen is, making the right decisions, that could possibly be the biggest threat to me to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Interesting. With Barry, our producers are in our ear. They told us we're over time. It was a pleasure having you on.
Oh, man.
We appreciate you. We definitely got to get you back on the show. Great insight, man. Anything you thankful for? Because it's our last show. So anything you thankful for heading into Thanksgiving?
Honestly, man, I'm just thankful to be here, man. I mean, I've lost my job from the pandemic. It's been very difficult, but the one thing that I've just been thankful for is, the resiliency that I've shown to, really, try and move forward. I mean, without this pandemic, would I have even been merchandising? Would my show have made it to 8,000 downloads, I think that it's a certain level of self-investment that comes with trying to elevate yourself. And I'm just thankful for the fan base that I have that continue to support me with each episode. And even I'm thankful for you guys because, it's really hard to create a podcast, especially to do it with the consistency that you guys have shown. So, from seeing that, from someone that's doing it, it just gives me further strength to continue to do it. So you guys just keep going. It provides me strength, and I'm going to keep trying to keep going so I can give you guys the same energy.
Thank you, Barry. Be blessed, brother. We'll talk soon, man.
Much love, man.
Hell yeah, you know the vibe.
You know
So
the
catch y'all
vibes.
later.
All right, brother.
All right, Barry.